Hi everyone, I'm Koryn Okey and welcome back to Breezeway Academy. At Breezeway Academy, you'll learn how to build stronger, more professional vacation rental operations. So whether you manage 10 homes or 1,000, this series is here to give you practical frameworks, proven systems, and real-world best practices that you can apply immediately. At Breezeway, we work with thousands of property managers around the world, and every day we get to see how high-performing operators structure their teams, build their workflows, and deliver 5-star stays consistently. In this series, Housekeeping Excellence, we're going to break down exactly what it takes to build and run a smooth, scalable housekeeping operation for your vacation rental business. Because the reality is that housekeeping isn't just about cleaning, it's one of the most important and most complex parts of your organization. It is going to directly impact your guest experience, your reviews, your team efficiency, and ultimately your ability to grow. But it all starts with one of the biggest decisions that you'll make, which is who's actually doing the cleaning. Now, there's been a long-standing debate in the industry about whether it's better to use in-house cleaners or partner with external cleaning companies. The truth is, there's no one-size-fits-all answer because each approach has its own advantages, its own challenges, and its own operational implications. And choosing the wrong model for your business can lead to inconsistent quality, missed cleans, burnout, and ultimately negative guest experiences. Housekeeping is often your largest operational expense, and it's also one of the most common sources of guest complaints. So this decision really isn't about cost, it's about control, consistency, and scalability. At a high level, there are two primary ways that you could structure your housekeeping team. The first is an internal W-2 employee type program where everyone works directly for your company. The second is an external model, meaning that you're partnering with a third-party cleaning company who has their own staff and they handle their own scheduling and execution on the behalf of your company. Additionally, there is a third option that many experienced operators move towards over time, which is more of a hybrid approach that combines elements of both internal employees and external cleaning partners. But let's start with what it looks like if you're working with in-house cleaners. With this internal model, you're going to have direct control over your team. You hire them, you train them, you manage their schedules, you tell them what needs to be done in which order, which products to use, all of that information, and it gives you a lot of control because you're setting their standards. You can also define exactly what clean means for your company and ensure that your team is trained to deliver on that consistently. Over time, this leads to stronger experiences across your property because you have the same people who are cleaning on a regular basis and they understand what's expected. There's also strong alignment with your company's standards and expectations because the cleaners are part of your team. They're not an external vendor. So when something goes wrong, the accountability is clearer and feedback loops can be a little faster. But again, with that control is going to come additional responsibility because managing an in-house team is going to require significant operational overhead. You're going to be responsible for hiring, onboarding, scheduling, processing payroll, giving performance management reviews, and staffing can also become a challenge because if somebody calls out sick or doesn't show up, it's going to be your responsibility to fill that clean because the property still needs to be guest ready. And as you grow, scaling an internal team is going to continue to require recruiting and training. So while in-house is going to give you more control, it also requires more infrastructure to support it successfully. In-house does not mean easier, it just means that you have more control and more responsibility. Conversely, let's look at what working with an external cleaning company might look like. Because in this model, you're partnering with a third-party company who has their own cleaners, they're doing their own staffing, their own hiring, their own training, their own scheduling, and executing on the clean itself. And one of the biggest advantages here is a reduced management burden because you're not responsible for finding the cleaners. That responsibility is going to sit with the cleaning company. And that makes it easier for you to scale, especially if you're growing quickly or if you operate in different markets. It's also possible to lean on external partners as backup coverage, which can help when you need to look at reducing the risk of missed cleans if you have any staffing issues. And in many cases, working with external partners, you're going to have a little bit more predictability with pricing because it's often based on a per clean rate, which we're going to talk about in an upcoming video. But there are trade-offs. And the biggest one is control because you don't have full visibility into who's cleaning your properties or how consistently your standards are being followed or what products they're using. You can only agree with the cleaning company that these properties will be cleaned during this time frame on these days. So your quality can vary depending on who's assigned the job. That also makes accountability a little bit more complex because if something goes wrong, there's an additional layer between you and the person who actually did the work. And if communication gaps occur, issues might not be reported clearly or might not be reported in real time. External cleaning companies can work extremely well, but only when your expectations are clearly defined and consistently enforced. Now, many experienced operators actually find that sometimes the best solution isn't choosing one model over the other, it's combining the two. And so they lean on more of a hybrid approach, which allows you to balance that control and flexibility. For example, you might have an internal employee team that you use for your core or high value properties where the consistency and brand standards are incredibly critical. And at the same time, you might rely on external partners for overflow work during peak seasons or for properties in secondary markets. In some cases, you'll also have internal teams who are handling the inspections and quality control, while you have an external cleaning partner team that handles the cleaning itself. This approach is going to allow you to maintain that control where it matters most while still having the flexibility to scale and adapt. It can also help you reduce burnout on your internal teams during busy periods. So how do you decide which approach is right for you? There are a few factors that you can consider. First is going to be your portfolio size. If you're a smaller operator, many of those folks are often starting with external cleaners because it just requires less infrastructure. And you often aren't going to have the amount of work that's required to maintain somebody on a full-time salary. But as portfolios grow, many operators may shift towards in-house or hybrid models to gain more control as the workload requires. Secondly is going to be your geographic spread. If all of your properties are concentrated in one area, an internal team might be easier to manage. But if they're spread across multiple markets, working with external partners may be more practical. Thirdly is going to be your turnover volume. If you have a bunch of back-to-back bookings, consistency and speed become incredibly critical, and that is often going to favor more control. Fourth is going to be the brand experience. If you're operating in luxury segments or prioritizing a highly consistent guest experience, tighter control over the cleanings might be necessary. And finally is going to be your internal capacity. Do you have the time, the structure, the leadership in place to manage an in-house team effectively? Or would outsourcing and allowing those folks to focus on other parts of the business be more beneficial? The right choice for your company today may not be the right choice a year from now, and your model is likely to evolve as your business grows. No matter which model you choose, whether it's internal employees, external partners, or a hybrid of both, your success is going to come down to structure. Clear expectations, clear communication, and clear visibility into what's happening on the ground are going to be imperative. And that's where Breezeway comes in. Breezeway helps you standardize your cleaning processes, assign work clearly, and track completion in real time. So whether your cleaners are employees or external partners, they all work from the same system, and you can create detailed checklists that ensure tasks are completed to your standard. You can verify the work, and you can have photo documentation to accompany it. But you can also see which properties are ready, which need attention, where there are issues occurring, and that allows you to create accountability across your entire operation, regardless of who's doing the cleaning. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about who cleans the property, it's about whether the property is consistently ready for guests. Choosing between an internal and external cleaning option isn't about finding a universally better option. It's about finding the model that best supports your operation, your team, and your growth goals. The right structure will create consistency, and that consistency is what drives great guest experiences. In the next video, we're going to take this one step further and walk through how you actually find, hire, train, and retain your vacation rental cleaners that you can trust. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Breezeway Academy.